Hello and welcome to Talkin Health, your go-to source for health and wellness. I'm Bunmi. I'm glad you made it a date with me again on the show. If you desire to live a long and healthy life, I'll encourage you not to pull a seat alone, but invite all your loved ones to log on right now as I take you on an inspiring, educating, and motivating journey into heart health. Yes, a ride into how to keep your heart healthy. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Without meaning to scare, available statistics about heart issues are daunting. In the United States of America alone, according to statistics by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, heart disease is the leading cause of death among men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the country. It went further to say that one person dies every 33 seconds. You heard me, not 33 minutes, 33 seconds from cardiovascular disease in US. Now, you can see how serious this issue is. The World Health Organization also buttressed the gravity of heart issues when it stated that annually, an estimated 17 million people globally die of cardiovascular diseases, particularly heart attacks and strokes. Do you want to consider what the economic implications of heart diseases are? That's some whopping billions of dollars annually. On that note, I'm happy to let you know that I won't be driving this show alone, but with me is a medical practitioner who has been in the trade for close to a decade. She's presently in training to become a family physician. At the moment, she works at the Federal Medical Center, Ibutemeta, here in Lagos, Nigeria. She's actively involved in health advocacy, health promotion, and health awareness, and has been part of several outreach programs geared at increasing access to healthcare and health information. A big welcome to you, Dr. Tochukwu John Elendu. Thanks for giving us your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Happy to be here as well.
Thank you. Now, to start with, what does it mean when someone says that another has a heart issue?
So when you say someone has a heart issue, we need to understand what the heart is, basically. The heart is an organ in the body, part of the cardiovascular system, meaning blood circulating system. So the heart is the major organ involved. The heart is the major organ that drives that processes. And so what happens is when someone has a heart issue, it means that the person's heart has challenges or problems with either pumping out this blood or either in relaxing enough to fill up with blood, or basically a problem of, it can be a problem of structure or function. Structure meaning basically how the heart is. Is the heart large? Is the heart too small? Does the heart have some defects? Function is in its processes in what the heart is supposed to do. So a heart issue can be an issue of structure or function. So that's the easiest definition. When you say someone has a heart issue, can be an issue with function, pumping of blood, how the blood is circulated around the body. Structure, is the heart too big? Is the heart enlarged? Because the heart is a muscle. It can get too big, it can get too small. Are there some defects in the heart, or are there some areas in the heart that need to be adjusted, or are there some areas in the heart that have some probably areas of death? That's the basic summary of when you say someone has a heart issue.
Okay, so doctor, what in actual fact triggers heart problems? Or should I say, what factors are responsible for heart issues?
Okay, so basically the factors can be, there's no one thing that we can say is responsible, but we have things that they are broadly divided into modifiable factors, non-modifiable factors. Modifiable factors are those factors you can change: your diet, your lifestyle, your way of life, the activities you carry out in your life. While the non-modifiable ones are things like your race,
because it has been said that the black race is more prone to having heart issues, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and problems. So those are non-modifiable. I can't change the fact that I'm black. I can't change the fact that I'm of black descent. Other non-modifiable factors include things like family history. You can't change the family you were born in. You can't change the family. You can't change the fact that maybe hypertension, diabetes, obesity, dyslipidemias run in your family. That cannot be changed.
Okay.
Sex as well. Sometimes it's said that women are more prone to having heart issues, black women actually, than men. I'm a woman, for example. I can't change that. A man can't change the fact that he's a man. The basic genetic makeup is still that of a male or a female. And so those are factors that cannot be changed. They can only be worked around via the modifiable factors, sorry. So those
Okay.
are the factors, or those are the risks. There's no one thing that causes heart issue. It's
I
a
see.
mixture of several things. Persons are born with it. Some persons are born with heart issues that
I
they
see.
have to live with for their lives. So those are things that you can't change.
Okay. Now, I'm worried because, when someone begins to throw up, in the mornings, for instance, early morning sickness, almost all of us can say, okay, I know what the problem is here. Okay. But for heart issues, what are the common symptoms or signs that everybody should look out for to know that, oh, this person has a heart issue?
Heart issues. Yes, there are some
Yes.
symptoms of heart issues. I must say, first of all, that sometimes some persons have heart issues that they don't know till they get to a certain point. Take for example, Kanu Wankwo. He had an existing heart issue. It was only until he signed up for a particular English side and he went for the medical test that it was discovered that he had a heart issue, and that was at adulthood. So I must say first of all that there are some heart issues that are, we call them asymptomatic. They don't present with symptoms unless issues of stress are
Wow.
imputed. So that's one. But for the other ones that have symptoms, some persons may just complain, I just feel tired. I just feel tired. I'm eating well, I'm resting well, I'm doing everything. I feel tired. Then for some patients with heart failure, when the heart is failing, at some certain point in time, they start to experience fatigue when they are stressed in terms of they might just walk a short distance and they become breathless. So breathlessness sometimes is another sign of a heart issue. Breathlessness, chest pain, sometimes cough as well. So you can have breathlessness as a sign of a heart issue, or as a symptom, sorry, of a heart issue. You can have fatigue that doesn't go away with rest or with reduced activity. You can have chest pain as well. Sometimes there's something we call syncopal attacks. That's the person just has these attacks of fainting. We just say this person is always fainting, or the person feels dizzy. Dizziness is another symptom of a heart issue, of an underlying heart issue. Then some persons, when they are subjected to stress like exercise, they start to have palpitations. That's another symptom. Palpitation simply means you are aware. We all know that we have a heart inside of us and
Yeah.
our hearts are beating, but you are not aware that your heart is beating. It's just doing its job. But by the time you become aware that your heart is beating, it's called palpitation. So palpitation is another symptom of a heart disease, and those are things that
I thought palpitation
those are
is,
some
I thought,
common
doctor,
symptoms.
I thought everybody palpitates when you go through hard stuff, hard job or something. I mean,
Yeah, but sometimes that's why it's not clear cut. These things are constellation of signs and symptoms as well as investigative processes. Some persons have palpitations at rest. What do I mean by at rest? They are not doing anything. They're just,
okay,
I'm aware that my heart is beating. Some persons, when they are subjected to exercise, yes, we all have palpitations, but some more than others.
okay,
Some it's not a normal event, but the
I
most
see.
common one really, or the most clear-cut one, is palpitations at rest. At rest means I'm not doing anything. I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. I'm not anxious. But I
Right.
discover that I'm aware that my heart is beating and beating really fast. So that's
Wow.
another symptom of a heart issue.
Oh, wow. So, what are these stages of heart issues, and at what point exactly is one said to have a heart failure? I mean, I'm sure there must be stages to this.
Okay, so that would be what we know as heart failure. So according to American Heart Association, they have like four stages of
Okay.
heart failure. Let me use that term now, heart
Okay.
failure.
Okay.
Now, the first stage is when a person doesn't have symptoms at rest. So, like the example I use where some person sits and they're having palpitations, they're not doing anything. So for these people, they are basically asymptomatic, no symptoms at all. They don't have breathlessness, they don't have palpitations, they don't have cough, they don't have fatigue, but they have risk factors, which I mentioned earlier. Risk factors like maybe hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, or they are overweight. So we would classify these people as being in stage one of heart failure. Their heart is failing, but they are not showing symptoms yet. Then for the second group of persons, these are persons that just with let's say mild to moderate exercise, they start to show symptoms. They start to show the symptoms we have listed earlier. Mild to moderate exercise doesn't only mean maybe when they go to a stadium to run or they jog. If you just be doing strenuous activities, they start to show symptoms. Then for the third group of persons, those ones show symptoms with very little exertion. They probably just carry a bucket of water. They're already out of breath. They walk up a flight of stairs. So sometimes in practice we see patients, doctor, I don't know. When I just climb up the stairs, I have to wait at several stops to catch my breath before I can completely go up the stairs. Those persons are already getting to stage 3, stage 4 of a heart failure. So
Wow.
they discover that when they just do little exercise, maybe they just say, oh, I just noticed that whenever I just sweep my room, I'm tired. I took a shower, I washed my clothes, I did my laundry, I'm tired. I just finished cooking. I don't mean now this cooking here is not okay for someone who has done large volumes of cooking. No, I just cooked something small, did something
Okay.
small, I'm tired.
Okay.
And for the last stage of people, which is a very bad stage, those are the ones that have symptoms at rest. They are not doing anything. So they sit. One very important symptom I didn't mention earlier is swollen feet. So
Okay.
you would have classic, they'll tell you, oh, I notice that my leg gets swollen when I wake up in the morning. But I discovered that as I continue my daily activity, the swelling comes down. So it's very important. That is a very important symptom, because also for patients who are having their kidneys failing, that can happen. But
Exactly.
one of the differences from that of the heart is classically they will tell you, I wake up in the morning, my feet are swollen. But I notice as I keep walking, I go out for my daily chores, the swelling comes down. That is for a kidney patient. But for a patient with a heart problem, they would say, oh, it seems like the swelling, no, sorry about that. Kidney problem, the swelling is there throughout the day.
I see.
But for a heart problem, they say, oh, I discovered that as I carry out my regular activity, the swelling comes down. But by the
Okay.
time patients get to a stage 4, that swelling is not coming down.
I see.
In fact, they can now start having swelling in other parts of their body,
I
and that's a
see.
very bad stage. So, stage 4 patients, even while they are not doing anything, they are tired, they are breathless, they can't even do so much activity, they are having swollen feet, and all of that. So those are the stages, or those are the phases that one of the things we do. We don't want you to get past some of these phases. We just want you to be at a point where it's managed and the person can live with it for as long as possible.
Okay, in as much as I won't want us to digress from heart issues, I do know that I've spoken with a couple of doctors before, and they've told me that sometimes maybe there are nodes blockages at some point in the body. It
Yes.
can also, yes, speak to that, please.
Yeah, so the blockages as a result of cholesterol.
I see.
So we call them plaques, basically. So
Okay.
you know that blood vessels, the circulatory system is the heart and blood vessels. Blood vessels are like pipes that carry blood from the heart to the rest of the body, from the rest of the body back to the heart. Now, like your basic pipes at home, if your pipes have blockages, you would have increased pressure in those pipes. Sometimes those pipes could burst. which is
Absolutely.
what we say someone has had a stroke or a cerebrovascular accident. Now, those blockages are from what we call plaques. These plaques come from cholesterol deposits, from fat deposits. Some of these plaques too are from injuries to those cells. So we have cells being injured, and then when there's a healing process, you have those deposits being formed there because you have, oh, the body is doing a lot of processes. Wow, we need to quickly respond to what has happened. And so we have those blockages occurring. So one of the things we try to do is avoid getting to the point where there's a blockage, which is why we talk about cholesterol, what you eat.
Absolutely. And that's my next question. And that actually takes us to the next question. So the next question is, what role really does our diet, what role does it play, in heart health? What food should everybody from childhood to adulthood, what kind of food would you recommend that we take on a constant basis so that we can have healthy hearts?
Yes, thank you very much. So, for when it comes to diet, like I like to say that when it comes to medicine, when it comes to lifestyle diseases, because there are some diseases that are disease of lifestyle, we like to take two approach. We call it the pharmacological and non-pharmacological. The pharmacological involves drugs, but not everybody will get to drugs. In fact, we the non-pharmacological approach comes first. So under the non-pharmacological, we have what we call lifestyle modification. That
Okay.
includes your diet. Diet
Okay.
is one of it. So what are the things I should eat? What are the things I should avoid? What are the things I should not do? Now, it's very important to state here that moderation is key, and what to eat and not eat per time has to do with also age. So we expect that as people grow older, they
Okay.
reduce the amount of red meat they eat. They
Right.
reduce so for someone who consumes alcohol, I expect that you reduce alcohol intake. Smoking
Okay.
should be out of it.
Okay.
So those are lifestyle changes.
Okay.
Reduction, in fact, if you must go, you stop alcohol completely. Smoking is a no-no because it's bad for the heart.
Wow.
Then fatty food should be avoided as much as possible or reduced to the barest minimum.
Okay.
So what are fatty foods? You have your fried meat, fried chicken, you have your flour-based foods, your snacks, meat pie, chicken pie, hot
Wow.
dogs,
Those are like
all of
staple
those
foods in
things.
Nigeria now. Just a
And
part
then
of it.
it's expected that once people start to get over the age of 40, you try to reduce red meat intake. Red meat intake to be reduced. In fact, some persons go as far as stopping it and just do white meat, just do
That's true.
fish, proteins, and those
Lambs.
kind of proteins, liver. Those things are more healthier than red meat, and they are
Okay.
very good for the heart. Then also the type of oil you use. And that's
Okay.
why over the past couple of years, companies came up with what they call heart-friendly oil. So you have oils that they say, oh, these are heart protective, these are cardio protective. They don't have a lot of unsaturated fats that can.
What kind of oil? What kind of oil? What kind of oil? Is it corn flour oil? Is it sunflower? Is it granite oil? Is it vegetable oil? What kind of oil?
Mostly people are stepping away from vegetable oil and moving to other healthier sources. Like you have soya oil, you have
Yeah.
olive oil. That is pure olive oil. There are a lot of
Coconut
adulterated. So
oil.
yeah, pure olive oil, coconut oil. Yes, people
Yeah.
have also advocated coconut oil as a good source. And then if anybody will use vegetable oil, you have to be sure that this is you are getting it from the right source and it has been
Okay.
properly processed, and there are not a lot of additives because
I
it's the
see.
additives that cause a lot of the problems.
Wow.
So those are also your sunflower oil is a good source as well.
Okay.
Of It's a good heart friendly oil, or it's a good
Okay.
oil that would not cause a buildup of cholesterol in the body.
Terrific. Thank you. Um, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back because I still have a lot for you to answer. Thank you. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now, doctor, how important every day we hear that you have to do exercise on a daily basis. Even if it doesn't involve jumping, at least take a walk. Now, I'm curious, how important or what's the place of exercises in maintaining cardiovascular health?
Yes, the role of exercise cannot be emphasized because
Okay.
exercise when a person is involved in exercise, in fact, for your own good health, there are some endorphins that are released, and you generally feel good. You're generally healthier when you do it. And funny enough, the exercise doesn't have to be something so out of this world in
Doesn't have
quotes.
to be that
Something that
intense.
WHO recommends that 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week, it's fine.
Okay.
Something as small as brisk walking. So I usually advise, I tell people, okay, towards the early evenings, if you don't have a too busy street, you can just take a walk from the beginning to the end, walk briskly, come back. The most important thing about exercise is that exercise has to be intentional. Because somebody might say, but you don't want to know the work I do every day. I carry heavy load, I do this, and they assume that that's exercise. No, the exercise is intentional. So I ensure that I take out time every day to carry out this exercise. So if I'm going to do my walk, some people do aerobics, some people do dancing, some people say they jog. The most important thing is that you are consistent at it and it's something that you intentionally set out to do. Every other thing is just physical activity. Some people say, oh, I trek. I trek from the bus stop when there's no bus, or when there's a traffic, I trek. That's
Absolutely.
physical activity. As long as it's not something intentional and it's not something that is planned,
Okay.
it's just a physical activity.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much for that. So, are there recent advancements, in medical
Yes.
treatments for heart conditions that viewers should know about?
Yes. Okay. So funny enough, before this interview came up, there was a very recent thing I saw. Well, it's far down the line for patients that had to have heart surgery where probably a pacemaker was implanted and all of that. So some of those patients had complained of receiving shocks because pacemaker is simply an electric device. So they had complained of receiving shocks, just electric shocks. And so very recently, there was a doctor that was certified in Africa to monitor those pacemaker devices. So you can find out, oh, when this pacemaker device is developing a fault, is having an electrical fault, or whatever fault it might be. Other advancements have to do with advancements in lifestyle. Research is going on every day. We're starting to find out that, oh, you need to sleep more, oh, you need to rest more, oh, mental health is important. In fact, very recently, there's also research that your teeth, there's a relationship between oral health and your heart.
Oh,
So
talk about that. Talk
I
about
said
that,
very
please.
recently, there's some research that has shown that there's a relationship between oral health and your
Yes.
heart.
How?
So yes, yes, for some persons with bad oral hygiene, they can have issues where bacteria that builds up in their mouth can track to the valves of the heart, causing infection, causing heart issues. So also it's been shown that your dental appointments, you need to keep them. Dental appointments are twice a year, 6 monthly. And then don't joke with toothaches. You have persons who say, oh, I have a toothache. Oh, it's something, it will just go. Or it's something not to be bothered about. Brushing twice daily too is very important. So, before people would
Interesting.
feel, oh, nothing about my mouth. But now we are realizing that there's a relationship between oral health and the heart. So bad
Wow.
oral health can down the line lead to um, endocarditis, infection of the heart, infection of the heart valves. So those are some
That's
recent
interesting. That's
information
very
researches
interesting.
that we are beginning to find out. Yes.
Wow, interesting. Thank you for that, doctor. Thank you. So, how frequently should individuals get their hearts checked? And what are the recommended screening tests?
Okay, so basically a hard check, there's no hard and fast rule for it. Now we expect, first of all, you need to know, are there risk factors? What are the risk factors? A family history, someone in my family has a heart disease, someone in my family is hypertensive, diabetic, chronic medical illnesses, hypertension, diabetes, elevated cholesterol levels. So for such persons, they're already in the category of those with risk factors. So they need more often than not to have a heart check often. Now, for timeline's sake, some people advocate have an annual health checkup, not just for your heart. So
Okay.
I
General
have a
check.
colleague who would usually encourage patients that give yourself a birthday gift of a health check. So the month of your birthday, so for example, my birth month is February. I
Oh,
can choose that, oh, first week in February, part of giving myself a gift. You'd expect that during your birthday, people gift you gifts, but
yes.
you give yourself a gift of a health checkup. So that
Wow.
is
That's
one
a
way
good
of
one.
doing that, an annual health check. Now,
That's a
for
good
those who
one.
already have heart diseases, I expect that you'll be following up with your physician, with your cardiologist, with your family physicians. And so sometimes, depending on the severity of illness, depending on symptoms, oh, they might say, oh, I want to see you every 2 weeks. I want to see you every month. For some who have controlled symptoms, 6 months, 1 year. But if we're just dealing with risk factors, annual health checks are good.
Wow. So I like the fact that I should gift myself, a health check. Okay, so now it's not a bouquet of roses anymore, or a holiday in Bahamas. That's terrific. A heart shell. After all, it's somebody that is alive that can live in Bahamas or can holiday in Bahamas, right? Okay. Are there any specific considerations or precautions individuals with family history of heart diseases should take? Are there any such things?
Lifestyle. We cannot overemphasize that lifestyle. Whether there's a heart disease or not, lifestyle very important. Quit smoking, reduce alcohol intake, reduce intake of red meat, rest when you need to. In fact, Centers for Disease Control came up with a 7 list of healthy heart habits for a
Okay.
heart, good heart health. Yes,
Okay.
7 habits. Avoid
Okay.
smoking,
Okay.
reduce intake of red meat, reduce refined sugars and carbonated drinks. So you need to
Okay.
take more of water.
Okay.
Rest when you need to.
Okay.
Take out time to have adequate rest and even relaxation. Have health checks, have regular health checks. And for those with chronic medical conditions, those who are hypertensive, take your drugs regularly, take your drugs when you should. Know your numbers, know your blood pressure, know your blood sugar, check your cholesterol levels, reduce fried and fatty meals, reduce cholesterol meals, and weight is another thing. For people who are obese, they tend to have a lot of heart issues, blood pressure, diabetes, elevated cholesterol. Their heart is having to do a lot of work, so their heart is already under enough stress. So for
Stress.
persons who are obese, there's a standard we use the body mass index, that is your weight versus your height. We use that to check. So there's a certain weight we expect for you versus your height. And normal BMI or reference range for BMI is about 18 to 25. That's the kilogram per meter square. So we expect people to be in that range. So eat healthy meals. Fruits and vegetables are one of the seven things that you need to do to have a good heart, or heart-friendly things you do. Why? I had said earlier, antioxidants, they help to release antioxidants that can mop up free radicals. They help to improve your gut motility. Generally, they give a better health outcome for persons. Yes, so those are the things that can be done.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tochukwu John Elendo. It's been
Yes.
a terrific and mind-blowing, educating trip for me, and I'm sure my viewers too. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And
Thank
to my
God, ma.
wonderful viewers, I say thank you for being there, as that's all time permits us on today's edition of Talking Health with Bunmi. I believe you've resolved to put a stop to all the problems relating to your heart before it stops you. Until I come your way again, think health matters. Think Talking Health with Bunmi. Bye for now.